Join me on the program today on the spot. Yes, of course, Nigeria appears to be going through a turbulence time right about now. Literally, you put that, occasioned by the continuous failure of government's policies across all levels addressing the needs of its people. With a widening gap between the have and the have not, one begins to wonder when and how governance will begin to pay off in a country that is blessed with abundance of natural and human resources, such as being accountable and transparent to the people they serve. With this in mind, we beg to ask the critical question, and that is, how can Nigeria boast of a new crop of passionate, innovative, and transparent young leadership that would redirect, repropel, re-navigate the dynamics for this country to development? Hello, once again, you're welcome to the program, your trusted source for insightful analysis on issues shaping the world today. I am Aaron Isaac, and it's a huge delight to have you join me on the program once again. Of course, we'll be navigating the issues regarding an emerging trend here in Nigeria, and of course, dovetail into speaking with my guest on the program, what his intentions are regarding, particularly when you try to make a case study of Adamawa State, what he hopes to sell to the people of Adamawa State as a brand. That, of course, will form the crux of the conversation that we'll be having on the program today. But if you're just joining, we are here to set the agenda, and we are here to further the conversation. And this, of course, is On the Spot.
I was born and raised in the city of Kano. And during my growing up days, I have seen many things, some good, some bad, some ugly. It's like poverty was created in our home, and I hated that fact. I hated injustice right from a child. And these were pointers to the fact that I am called to do certain thing in life, and that is to advocate for justice, as to free people from oppression wherever they might be. My father, though working as a cook, had a little to make life decent for us. And so we grew up not liking what a child needs, and things were working for every one of us. I went to government primary school, I went to government secondary school. We were given school uniforms and transport money to go back home during holidays. And that was Nigeria, but things are different now. There is a lot of suffering. Government schools are living in the shadows of their past, and all of these things makes that I must contribute to social justice, or the cause of social justice. And this is a little of what has invited me or brought me into this space where I am advocating for the cause of social justice.
All right, my guest today is someone who has made a significant milestone contributing to the field of governance and public policy with a wealth of experience and deep understanding of the pressing challenges of our time. My guest brings a unique perspective to discussions on politics, economics, and social change. Join us as we delve into the latest development and explore their impact on both local and global stages. And that is my guest that I will be introducing right about now, Ishaya Inuwa Durkwa. He is a seasoned professional with a remarkable track record in leadership, innovation, and community development. Over the years, he has become a respected figure in peace building and social justice, known for his dedication for fostering, positive change across, Nigeria, and advancing for the well-being of communities across the country. His extensive experience with a Master's of Arts in Theological, and his passion for political activism and an advocate for social justice, peace, and accountability in government continues to inspire countless of individuals and organizations to push the boundaries of what seem possible today. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I make welcome on the program today, Ishaya Inuwa Durkwa. Thank you so very much for joining me on the program, sir.
Thank you so much, Aaron. It's such a great pleasure to meet with you. We just met yesterday, but you are just electrifying.
Oh,
and I love your personality and what you represent, and I hope to know more of you in the coming days.
I guess you're the inspiration.
Well, I think they said it takes two to tango.
Oh, of course. That's
so maybe that is it.
And how interesting was it? Let's just reference that particular video which I got from your YouTube page.
Yeah, so you are a snitch, I think. You're going to do a background check on me. I'm like, what's that? Well, I'm happy to hear that. It's on my YouTube, it's on my personal website.
Of course.
And it's such a blessing to hear me myself again and again. I've been consistent, and that has been the message consistently. And peace building and social justice is big in my heart. That is what I do, advocating for social justice, and that concept is speaking to the idea that everyone should have access to equal opportunities, equal privileges, equal status, and whatever it is that is available without being shortchanged because of their social class or their ethnic cleavage or religious persuasion and those primordial sentiments.
Does that seem feasible, or it's basically a utopia that we're trying to paint?
No, but it's doable, it's possible. By the way, impossibility is a matter of opinion. Whenever you encounter me, you will know that just don't say die. Because I have seen situations worse than ours that have changed. Whenever you find a person with the willingness, with the knowledge, with the capacity, with the compassion, and all of these values, in the space that transformation is needed, transformation happens. Is science. You dip in your litmus paper into acid, you get red. You dip it into an alkaline or base, you get the color. It has been proven. And so leadership is being said, and of course popularly made known by John Maxwell, that everything rises or falls with leadership. So wherever you see progress, you need to check who is on the driving seat. Wherever you see retrogression or degradation, you need to check who is on the driving seat. And with the rise of one leader, an entire change can happen where people list things. So, I mean, there is nothing difficult about changing this nation. I see these possibilities every day, and with people coming into consciousness, but actually, instead of standing aloof and being onlookers, we too can contribute, we too can do something. And once we get to that place where every citizen will take responsibility for social action, for social change, in a non-threatening way, by not necessarily antagonizing the government, we're going to see change, we're going to see things happen. Sorry, I'm talking a little bit too much. You know, governance is a two-way kind of a thing. You have leader, you have followers. Each time the followers abdicate their responsibility, which is to hold government to account, government can grow horns. Because we know, it has been said, it has not been disproven that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So whenever the citizenry resign to saying, you do it, we don't have a stake, what comes out of it is that leaders can become powerful because that is what power does. And then they begin to do things that you never thought they are going to do. So even a well-meaning person, and many people have gone into leadership with good intentions, but because of that accountability, that checks and balances, because people are singing praises even in the face of obvious failure, colossal failure. They are singing praises to them, so things continue to degenerate, and we find ourselves where we are.
And of course, you host a podcast, and leadership is one thing that you dwell chiefly upon, where you talk about it extensively, trying to give a different perspective. And it's good that you're talking about this. We're going to delve in deeper to dig about, how we need to get it right in Nigeria when it comes to the context of leadership, because it appears there is a void, there is a gap that needs to be filled in this country. But currently you serve as Executive Director of the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice. And it's a non-governmental organization, headquarters in just Plateau State. And you seem to be so much interested in activism and basically trying to break the barriers of injustice, social injustice within our society. What inspired, you into becoming an activist, demanding for equality within the society? Because I bet from the get-go, taking into what you reeled out as your, background while growing up as a child, that never, surfaced in the first instance.
Yeah, so I did a lot of study in reformation, in transformation, in governance, in how societies evolved. And there is a common denominator. Right. And that denominator is that wherever you see good governance is because there are people who are raising their voice to applaud the government. Where they do well, they affirm them. Where they don't do well, they call them to consciousness. Because, look, no human being is fallible. All of us are infallible. So if we are left to ourselves, there is no end to the error that we can create. And so activism is necessary, and is coming from different philosophical thoughts that time will fail us to go into, where activists are actually an offshoot of philosophers who think and critique systems, and what they do is they serve as the conscience of any given society. So no society can rise above her conscience, and that conscience ideally is supposed to be the civil society organizations, and we are not in short supply of them. But the question is whether we know what it meant, because ours is a situation where some, I mean not all, some civil society organizations emerge being floated by some of these people that we want to speak to. Okay. Now, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Yeah. So if the person you want to hold accountable is the one who is paying you, it takes away your moral voice. It takes away your legality, your justification to speak truth to that person. So you'll just be reduced to a press singer. And these are some of the challenges we are having that makes that civil society organization seems to be like toothless dogs that only bark but can't change anything. As a matter of fact, some of our leaders are good in their craft, because what is happening is that each time they hear people talking, they have a way of going to distribute, and then people would go quiet. Right. So it's like they are just beggars. Each time people come out talking, or they are hungry, let's give them some crumbs. And when you give them crumbs, they go quiet. There is a late senior citizen of our nation called Honorable Mantu from Plateau State. He hails from Plateau State, who said in a public TV, Channels TV to be precise, that Nigerian masses are like chickens. During election year, when they come out crying, just spray some millets, and they will go eating, you take power and you go. And they are not going to do anything. So those are the kind of
you feel that, what we see today, because I've actually listened to some public analysts who have said that the growing poverty we see in Nigeria is a deliberate creation. Absolutely. So that they can, subject the people to this state and have control over them.
Absolutely.
And this is basically what inspired you into advocating for national transformation in Nigeria, isn't it? Yeah. Speaking about morality and ethical conduct of individuals within the system. Yeah. Okay. But talk to me about how the journey has been for you professionally, because I am sensing a bit of departure, because one begins to wonder how it's all, come together. Help us make sense of, your professional journey as an individual that possibly, perhaps, brought you to, advocating today.
Nigeria is an impossible place. It's a different world. As a matter of fact, I've said elsewhere that Nigeria is not normal, because it's like the more you look, the less you understand sometimes. And because I've been part of different movements that began to form my mindset, I notice consistently that when you are building something, it crashes. Okay. And each time it crashes is because someone has come with money to scatter the the concerted effort you are making to build in one direction, and so people are thrown off balance because of money. That's one. Number two, people can use religion, they can use ethnicity or regionalism, and then you find out that we have not been able to make any movement, concerted effort in one direction. Now, the knowledge gap accountable for this kind of challenges is one people do not know. So I am a student of philosophy, and I taught philosophy. There is a branch of philosophy called epistemology, theory of all types of knowledge. Now, if I see a person taking 2,000 naira to give his vote, I will tell you that the person is not because the person is hungry. It is because the person does not know that this is a problem.
So there's a knowledge deficit.
It's a knowledge deficit.
Okay.
And our political class, and that's why it appears, and I believe it's a deliberate attempt. So what is happening is that in order to perpetuate themselves as against the people, they deploy ignorance and they weaponize it. Of course, there is poverty on the other angle. And I would argue that the greatest of the poverty is the poverty of the mind. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge emancipates. The reason why on your journey, on your way from here to Gombe, you may not be assassinated is that you are informed that there are assassins on the road. Once you get that knowledge, it helps you to make decisions.
Doesn't this negate the Maslow needs of hierarchy for needs, which talks about food first, that particular hierarchy or pyramid?
So that's the reason why I said there is an intersection between the poverty of the mind and the poverty of the stomach. It has a connection. There is a nexus. There is a meeting point. But to be honest with you, poverty of the mind is the greatest of all poverty and is the mother of all poverty. Otherwise, you would understand something that is called delayed gratification. Aaron, what is it going to take me to give you my vote in exchange for 10,000 naira? How long is 10,000 naira going to last? So it's not going to take me more than one month, yet I'm going to stay for 4 years election cycle to get another 10,000 naira. Now, if I know delayed gratification, simply put, is that I would rather suffer for 1 month without food, but to make informed decision that will change the next 4 years. So Nigerians don't have. It's been said that Nigerians are resilient people, but it's not overtly true because we don't know how to defer and to delay gratification. We rather want it now, rather than to suffer for 2 days, for 1 week, for even 1 year, so that tomorrow is better. And that together has brought a religion of self where people are very selfish. I just want to get for myself. I'm not thinking of the collective populace. So we are not utilitarian in our minds. Utilitarianism is a philosophy that holds that it's better all of us get it than for me alone to get it. And together with that deficit is that Aaron today, maybe this would be too much an assumption, but I would believe that there are people you are taking care of who are not naturally your biological children. Why? Because they don't have things to do. They don't have employment. Do you understand? So now you are suffering to take care of all of them. But what is it going to look like if we create a safe environment, a society where there is social justice, so that all of these people are able to fend for themselves? So I mean, it's not easy, but this is 25 years journey. I am both a student, I am a teacher, I train people in leadership, in ethics, in policy development. It's proven over time. These things that I'm talking about.
And arguably, he's a football enthusiast also.
I'm a coach. I'm a coach.
But I was just
Saturday morning I played soccer.
Oh, interesting.
With
That's
friends.
good. Maybe one of these days we have to, be on the same pitch and.
No, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to beat you, Aaron. You don't want to try that.
Now, stay to what you just said. Now, I was having an epiphany by why you were saying what you said, and I was wondering because there is this particular, philosophical drive that is happening.